Hi, I'm Lars. Welcome back to the shop. This video is an update of what's been going on here for the last month or so. And a lot of it has to do with, as you've heard, maybe you've heard through some of the videos about, I've got a couple barn posts that are rotting underground and I need to get those fixed. So we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so for an update, Susan's still working on laser videos. She's got a few that are doing pretty well. Apparently the information that she's starting to put out, people are starting to take notice of, and which is really good. She just got a new laser in, and I know Bill Tracy at Terrapin Creations is going to be pretty jealous about it, but she got her S1 bill. So she's getting that set up. She's starting to learn more about how it operates and whatnot, and she's going to have an unpacking, or I'm going to have one of us are going to have one, an unboxing session on unboxing what comes with the S1, setting it up, hooking it up to fire suppression, how we're going to hook it into our vent system and stuff like that. And then hopefully at the end of the video we'll be able to get something burned so you guys can see it. I've been working on a jig for wood rounds, and I've got the jig done. I know how it needs to work, how to get it all set up, and it's something that I think a lot of people are going to want to do. So it's going to be a pretty good video. I'm just working on getting everything painted at the moment. That's been the biggest issue, is getting this thing painted, figuring out what we actually want to put on it. The jig works fine. So that is coming up really soon. As soon as this thing gets painted, that video will be out. But most for the last 3 weeks, what I've been working on are these posts in the barn. And I'm going to try to pull back a little bit. So there's a post here, there's a post right here, and there's a post over there. If you've seen a lot of the videos that are on this channel, you're going to notice that there's things that are missing back here. All right, there's benches that used to be here, there's tools. My table saw bench, as you can see, is just covered in stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to do any work until I get this done. We also had a tornado come through that was probably about a half a mile to the south of us. That was a couple weeks ago. Luckily, thank God, we didn't have any damage done to anything here. There was a lot of wind, a lot of hail came through. Minor damage, we had our skylights in the other barn, hail just ripped through them, and we got hail that was golf ball size coming through. So I had to get up and patch that, but in the process of going up and patching it, I noticed that the other skylights are starting to age. They've been up there for about 15 years. Funny thing is, the warranty on a skylight is 15 years. So if you've got skylights in your barn that are older than 15 years or coming up on 15 years, just go replace them. Skylights, they're expensive too. They're like 60 bucks for a skylight, just a piece of plastic. The steel is like $23. Not that much money. Kind of weird. All right, so enough on what's going on with the barns. Let's get back to these posts. So I'm going to take you outside. I'm going to show you what is going on with these posts. Okay, so right now I'm on the outside of our barn, and I'm going to point this down to this post, and this is ground level right here. Okay, so right here is ground level, and as you can see, that lines up pretty good with about where this post is rotting out. Now, this post has been here for maybe, I'm going to say maybe 7 years, if that. And the reason that it's rotting out is you can see all this mud that's down in here, into the gravel. It's because these 4s and 5s were put into the hole when, we built the barn. Now, when we built the barn, there should have been 411s put in there, but some circumstances happened and 4s and 5s ended up in there. So we need to dig that out. So what happens with the 411s, which is what we call 411s here, it could be 380s, they're ½ inch down to dust, gravel. It looks a lot like this stuff that's laying out here, right around here like this. Okay, this is 411, if you've never seen it before. Now what that does is that fills a void and becomes basically like concrete in the ground, so water can't get in, or if water does get in, it's very little amount. It doesn't get up to the wood. With the 4s and 5s, if they're bigger rocks, they're like this big, it's a lot of voids in there, and when water gets in there, it just sits and soaks and it never dries out. All right, so eventually you end up with a mold on your wood, and that mold will eat your wood, and eventually it'll just work its way completely up the pole. So what are we doing about it? Let's go back inside and I'll tell you. Now before everybody gets into that, when we built the barn we should use treated lumber, that is treated lumber. All right, about 10 years ago, somewhere around there, they took copper out of the chemical compound. A lot of people said it was arsenic and whatever, but I believe it was copper. And they took it out of the chemical compound where they make treated lumber. That was something the government at the time said it needed to be done. What it did is taking that out allows the ground contact, or just any treated post having it, you need to treat that post yourself. So you need to put black tar on it or rubber, right, liquid rubber, and then eventually it seals and does a pretty good job. Or you can put it in a sleeve or whatever you can do to keep the water off of it. All right, so that's one solution. And if you go around to anybody that has built a deck in the last so many years, 10 years, every deck that I build, I put window, it's a rubberized sticky rubber that goes around windows to seal windows. I put it on the top of every joist that I have. And the reason is because water sets on that wood, and when it's really flat it just sits there. You need it not to be setting on wood or touching this wood at all. Treated lumber always, okay? So when you put it down, water sets on it, it'll roll off the side if it can or whatever, but if water sets there, eventually it'll penetrate it. Now I've got some 2x8 joists that are sitting outside, or actually they're in my other barn still, that I can take and grab and just crush with my hand due to that. And that happened to one of our decks that we built right before we built this barn. So the way that these posts are put together is they're put together in a laminate. There's 3 pieces of wood, okay, that laminate up. There's a very good reason for that. If you have a 6x6 post, or if you have a 4x4 post that is not a laminated piece of wood like that, you've got all the fibers in the wood that are going the same direction. Okay, so this is a piece of plywood, extremely strong. Okay, if you were to take another piece of wood made out of pine, because this is pine, so this will keep the same species, okay, and it was like this, I could snap this on my leg, no problem. I probably could snap this one on my leg, no problem too, but it wouldn't come apart as much. Now this will stay pretty true, all right? So when you laminate pieces of wood, you've got different grains going different directions, so it keeps that piece of wood, the post, straighter. If you take a 4x4 and you stand it out in the sun, it will bow, it'll dry the side out, and all of those fibers will start leaning toward the sun. All right, if you take a post that's like this, it'll try to lean, but there's other fibers in this board that are pulling it this way, fibers in this board that are pulling it this way, all different directions. So it stays truer. So this is why they do this, to make these posts. It's not due to cost. All right, let's just get that out. It's not due to cost. It's structurally more sound. All right, so now, and I'm glad that they did that because this is why. When we replace these posts, we're going to cut them off at the bottom. We're going to cut them off somewhere. So say this post goes really long, we're going to cut this like right about here. And then I'm going to cut this post off, this side of it, and then I'm going to cut this side of it off. Now we have a tongue. So now I can get, and I can take another piece of wood and put it on this side and on this side and in the bottom and have it flush so it looks like this again at the bottom down here. So it looks like one big post, and that will sit on, that'll sit on a cleat. And that cleat will be fastened to a concrete pier, which is gonna be however big these holes are, all right? So we're gonna put a concrete pier in, put a cleat on them, put this wood on it, and we're gonna shim up that, we're gonna sister into the tongue of the post, of each post. Will this work? I have no idea. Not a clue. The reason that we're doing this is there's nobody that does this, okay? In our area, there's no one that does it, all right? I found one guy that could come in, and he's out of Chicago, and I would have paid his trip here, and I would have paid for him to stay the night, okay? He could have expensed it all to me, because it would have taken him about 2 to 3 hours to stick a stainless steel, it's like a 3/16 inch thick sleeve around my post, and just pushed them down to the ground, bolted them to the post at the top, and that would have been it. It would have been done. They guarantee him for 20 years. I would have been all over that, all right? But he wouldn't come from Chicago down here, or Illinois, I should say. He's in the Chicago area, but he wouldn't come to Illinois. We're about 200 miles out. So I don't know why, but that's okay. So this is gonna be done. So we're gonna do this way, and hopefully this video will help somebody else to replace their pole barn post if they have to. So this video will be coming out when we get it done. We've been dealing a lot with rain here for the last month. It rains for 5 days, and on the weekends it's dry. So I've got 2 holes that are still full of water, and I've got 1 hole that's empty, and they're all dug down about 20 to 24 inches right now. You have the gravel taken out. And a lot of it's got to be taken out by my bare hand because it's stuck in mud. So I can use a little tool to dig it around. But the water is freezing cold. Ohio's weather is going like this. So some days it's 80 degrees, some days it's 30 degrees. Like today, I think the low today was like 35. And the high is going to be like 70. You know, welcome to Ohio. Wait a few minutes, the season will change. I don't remember what the entire thing is, but that is no joke. The first post I'm going to replace is the one in the middle, and I think I'm going to have to go out and dig a hole, what I call a weep hole away from the post. So I've got to get down 3 feet below ground. So I've only got about another foot to go with this gravel, and then I can start pouring concrete. But I think I need to dig, like if this is the hole, I need to dig a path out away from the barn to get that water to come out, and then maybe dig a little trench in or hook a sump pump into that and get the water out of there. But right now I can't get my hands in the hole because it's so wet. So if you're interested in that, you really want to see it, ding that bell, because when this thing comes out, you know, it's going to be really cool. There's a lot of different things that are going on in here, as you can see, and I'll go through all this in that video. There's supports that had to be done. I'll go through all the engineering that I did to make sure that these things are not going to fall. And again, it's a lot of cross your fingers, because everyone I've talked to that builds barn stuff, they're like, it may hold, it may not hold, I don't know. If my engineering's right, it should hold. As you can see, we've got the vertical supports, and then over on this back wall, we've got these guys here. They're the triangular supports. So what that does is, if that middle post, when we pull it out, we're not pulling all 3 out, we're pulling out one at a time, but the middle one, if that post decides to fall, that triangle will brace against it and keep it from going down any further. Plus, we've also got these other supports here, and the trusses are tied together already, so they shouldn't fall. It could, I don't know. But if it does, it'll be on video. Like I said, if you like that, if you want to see that, ding that bell. If you want to see the videos that are coming up on the wood rounds and the lasers, we're going to be building a bunch of stuff this summer. So please subscribe to the channel. Just got to get stuff going. And sorry I haven't been putting out videos every week like I normally do, but there's a lot of stuff around here that is taking precedence over me working on YouTube right now. And that's getting stuff fixed for the house. A lot of it's being videotaped, but I haven't had the time to just assemble the videos. Okay, so that's really what is the big thing. I'm still alive, still here. Susan's still here, and we'll be getting more videos out to y'all. So have a great day.